Also, would you guys look at this cute little denim set for Ozzy? In case you guys want to see him in it. Is that not so cute? Yes, let's stand a dove column. Big dove.
The Indiana Fever just proved something that will make every Caitlin Clark and Fever fan's heart explode with pride. While their injured star watched from the sidelines, her teammates didn't just step up. They absolutely destroyed the Las Vegas Aces by 27 points. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Fever hadn't beaten Vegas since 2019, they were missing key players, and the refs seemed to have A'ja Wilson on speed dial. But Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Lexie Hull, Aari McDonald, and Natasha Howard had other plans. Wait until you hear the 3 words Mitchell said after the game that perfectly captures this magical moment. If you support the Fever, then comment, "I've got the Fever. Let's go."
We talked about, we just made sure that our energy was high, made sure that we were focused, because obviously we know Vegas is a great team and they're a team full of winners. And so for us, it's making sure that we turn the page off of a great Commissioner's Cup success, and then we have to be ready for Vegas, and we were.
McDonald back on the attack, lays it in. Nice. Mitchell, beautiful pass, 2 more for Boston. Oh, catch and shoot, connects. Here's Mitchell left wide open, and Mitchell catches in with authority. McDonald turns the corner and gets to the rim.
Picture the worst possible scenario for a basketball team heading into a big game for the season. You're facing the reigning MVP and the defending champions. Your best player is injured. A key veteran has abandoned ship. Your depth players are playing international basketball on the other side of the world. This was exactly the nightmare situation the Indiana Fever found themselves in before taking on the Las Vegas Aces.
No updates outside of she's out tonight. So just continuing to work and get her progress and make sure there's no setbacks.
With the start-stop nature of you guys this season to this point, having 5 in a row at home right here, what kind of opportunity do you view that as for the rest of your year?
I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for us. Sleep in your own beds for a while, play some games at home, in our home arena with this crowd. It is a great opportunity, but you also can't take the opportunity that you're playing at home for granted, right? We still got to come with that energy, that effort, that high attention to detail, intentional focus, and we've got to build.
Caitlin Clark's groin injury couldn't have come at a worse time. The superstar sensation who had completely transformed the Fever's identity was stuck on the bench in street clothes. Clark wasn't just their leading scorer. She was their engine, their playmaker, their floor general who made everyone around her better. Without her lightning-fast pace and court vision, the Fever had to completely reimagine how they played basketball. The team that had thrived on fast breaks and three-point shooting suddenly looked lost trying to figure out their new identity.
With Caitlin and her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot-around? And is she making progress and getting closer playing?
She's making progress. I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long-term. Making sure that we don't have any setbacks. Making progress and feeling good are 2 different things. And we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks. And that's the priority right now.
But that's not all. DeWanna Bonner decided to quit the team right when they needed veteran leadership most. Talk about terrible timing. Bonner walked away from her teammates just as they were preparing for their biggest games of the season. The Fever were already thin on experienced players, and losing another veteran left them scrambling to fill roster spots and adjust rotations. Meanwhile, Damiris Dantas was representing Brazil in the FIBA AmeriCup, taking away crucial front court depth when they desperately needed bodies.
Interested in hearing how you feel about beating Las Vegas. You've been through a lot of them.
Yeah, I was reminding the team, I was like, it's been since 2000-something since I've been here. But on the bright side is that, organizations go through certain things. There's lows in every part of life, and I think for us in the Fever, it was our time.
Here's where it gets interesting. The Fever weren't just dealing with their own problems. They were about to face A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP who was having another dominant season. Wilson and the Aces had been the gold standard in the WNBA for years. This wasn't just any opponent. This was the team that had beaten Indiana in every single matchup since 2019. 5 straight years of losses to Las Vegas. The Aces had owned the Fever, and everyone knew it.
Here's Kelsey Mitchell, flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. She hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. Her high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you, Pat.
The sold-out crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse created an electric atmosphere, but even the most optimistic fans had to wonder how their depleted team could compete. The Fever were coming off a huge win against Minnesota that earned them their first Commissioner's Cup championship, but this felt different. This felt impossible. The odds were stacked so high against Indiana that most experts were already writing them off before tip-off. What nobody realized was that this perfect storm of adversity was about to create something magical. Sometimes a team needs to have their backs against the wall to discover what they're truly capable of. The Fever were about to find out exactly what they could accomplish when everything seemed hopeless.
Coming off a big Commissioner's Cup win Tuesday, the Fever emphasized coming into this one how important it was to keep moving forward, to keep the train on going, to not have a hangover in maybe more ways than one, and they did not. It was a dominant display, bigger than I can ever remember here in recent memory with the Fever, especially when the star player was out.
The numbers tell a brutal story about what happens when you take away a team's heartbeat. Without Caitlin Clark orchestrating the offense, the Fever looked like a completely different team. The fast-paced, high-scoring style that had made them so exciting to watch disappeared overnight. Instead of the lightning-quick transitions and rapid ball movement that Clark brought, the Fever were stuck in slow motion.
What have you seen the last 2 games in particular against the Wings and the Lynx of the growth of this team without Caitlin on the floor?
I think first and foremost, defensively, we've been better. And that's continuing to build consistency in our coverages, have a high attention to detail in everything that we do. I think our activity, our awareness has been better. On the defensive end as well. We've done a better job of protecting the paint. Now we've still got to improve in defending without fouling.
The pace of play dropped significantly without Clark's ability to push the ball up court after every rebound and steal. Games that used to fly by at breakneck speed suddenly felt sluggish. The Fever went from averaging over 90 points per game with Clark to struggling to reach 80 without her. Their offensive rhythm was completely broken. Players who had thrived in Clark's system looked lost, trying to create their own shots.
And I think offensively, the ball's moving. Multiple players are touching it. We're getting it from side to side, getting it inside, outside. It's moving a little bit quicker. Our goal is to get to where we play .5 basketball. And when we're at our best, it's moving and it's popping, and ball movement and player movement as well.
But that's not all. The ball movement became predictable and stagnant. Clark's incredible court vision and passing ability had made everyone around her better. Without her threading passes through tight spaces and finding open teammates, the Fever's offense became one-dimensional. Players held the ball too long, looking for shots that weren't there. The beautiful team basketball they had played with Clark turned into isolation plays and forced shots. Aliyah Boston felt this frustration more than anyone. The talented center who had dominated in college wasn't getting nearly enough touches to showcase her inside game. Boston's skill set required a point guard who could find her in the post and get her the ball in scoring position. Without Clark's playmaking, Boston found herself standing around the perimeter instead of working down low, where she was most effective.
What are some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around where everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screen defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We've got to. We always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offensive end.
Here's where it gets interesting. Teams had figured out how to defend the Fever without Clark. Opponents packed the paint knowing there wasn't a deadly three-point threat to worry about. They pressured other players to create their own offense, knowing they couldn't rely on Clark's incredible range to stretch the floor. The Fever looked ordinary against elite competition like the Aces. The team was searching for its identity and struggling to find consistent scoring from multiple players. But Kelsey Mitchell had been preparing for this exact moment. She had 3 powerful words in mind that would define what was about to happen. The atmosphere at Gainbridge Fieldhouse was electric as game time approached, and everything was about to change.
They never trailed. They got up as many as 27 points in this one. They kept their pedal down, which is important given what we've seen this season, en route to an 81-54 win. Complete dominance. They pummeled this Las Vegas Aces team. It was a 27-point win, and it wasn't even close after the first quarter. Once again, the Fever owned that second quarter in a big way. They outscored the Aces 25-10, which allowed them to go into halftime on top by 22.
What happened next will go down as one of the most stunning performances in Fever franchise history. From the opening tip, you could feel something different in the air at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Fever came out with an intensity that caught everyone off guard. This wasn't the same team that had been struggling without their star player. These players looked locked in and ready to prove something.
In the backcourt, they get it into Evans. You don't often see that by a team up by 18, and it pays off.
The defensive pressure was immediate and relentless. Indiana switched everything, doubled A'ja Wilson every time she touched the ball, and forced the Aces into uncomfortable shots. The Fever were flying around the court, getting their hands on every pass and making Las Vegas work for every single possession. Players who had looked lost on offense suddenly found their purpose on defense. The energy was contagious, and the crowd could sense something special was happening.
Let's go! Let's go! Great job! Great job! Look, we held them to 26% from the floor. Nice. We got a couple of milestones. AB, 5th Fever all-time career rebound. Wow. Ladies, thank you. And then Kels, 700th career assist. Thanks for making me look good, ladies. Thanks for making me look good. Thank you, I appreciate it. Tosh, 52nd career double-double.
But here's where it gets interesting. The referees seemed determined to keep A'ja Wilson in the game with some questionable calls. Wilson was getting the superstar treatment with soft fouls and phantom calls that had the Fever fans booing. Every time Indiana built momentum, the whistle would blow in Wilson's favor. The refs were clearly giving the reigning MVP a special whistle, but the Fever refused to let it break their spirit.
And I hope that you sense, you see, and you feel when we play that kind of defense, the difference that it makes. Defense travels, defense wins games, defense wins championships. We were great on the boards as well. Continue to buy into that elite level defense consistently, every day. That is our standard. That is our standard. Let's get out there, 1, 2, 3, together!
Kelsey Mitchell had other plans. She came out scorching hot from three-point range, hitting shot after shot with defenders draped all over her. Mitchell wasn't just scoring. She was making clutch shots that kept extending the lead every time the Aces tried to make a run. Her confidence was infectious, and you could see her teammates feeding off her energy. Mitchell looked like a player who had been waiting for this moment her entire career.
Here's Kelsey Mitchell, flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. She hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. They're high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you, Pat.
That's Boston's 5th rebound here tonight. He is 6th in the league on the glass coming into the night. Mitchell, beautiful pass. 2 more for Boston.
Watch this right here. Just the pitch back, the ball screen, the shake up, throw over the top.
So it's an 8-1 run to start the 3rd quarter here for Las Vegas. Bounce pass inside. Mitchell lays it in. That's pretty finish.
What a finish.
Aliyah Boston finally got the touches she had been craving all season. With better ball movement and teammates looking for her in the post, Boston dominated inside. She was scoring over Wilson, grabbing rebounds, and playing with the aggression that made her such a force in college. Boston looked like the player everyone knew she could be when given the chance to play her natural game.
Wilson coming off a masterful performance, 26 and 18, and Boston will take it right at her. Sets up Howard, the Commissioner's Cup MVP, has us on the board. She kind of slowly worked her way in as there's the head coach of the Aces, Becky Hammond. And here is Boston right up the middle, untouched. Underneath into a triple team. Bounces for Howard, patience, and a finish.
She's had 2 offensive fouls, too, off the ball.
Mitchell finds Boston and gets it to go.
I mean, it's a clinic right now.
Caught by surprise by the move. Life in professional sports, certainly the WNBA moves fast. And her former teammate, Aliyah Boston, gets inside and finishes through her.
The lead kept growing despite everything working against the Fever. 10 points became 15. 15 became 20. The Aces couldn't figure out how to stop this inspired Indiana team. Natasha Howard was everywhere on defense, blocking shots and grabbing rebounds. Her Commissioner's Cup MVP performance was exactly what the Fever needed from their veteran leader. Howard brought the championship experience and defensive intensity that elevated everyone around her. The moment when the 27-point blowout became undeniable reality was electric. The sold-out crowd was on their feet, celebrating every basket like they had just won the championship. Players who had been written off were making huge plays. The Fever weren't just beating the Aces, they were destroying them on their home court. This wasn't supposed to happen, but it was happening right before everyone's eyes.
It was our time, and I think we kind of deserved it based on our preparation and everything that we had been through prior to this game. And I think you guys got to see what it looked like for us to stay resilient throughout the course of, 48 hours. We just played, in Minnesota, and we got to prepare for this. And you guys got to see what it's like for us to be resilient.
After the game, Kelsey Mitchell revealed the 3 words that had been driving her all season. "We deserve it," she said, with pure emotion in her voice. Those 3 words captured everything this team had been through. All the struggles without Clark. All the doubt from critics. All the losses to Las Vegas over the years. Mitchell and her teammates had earned this moment through their determination and refusal to give up when everything seemed impossible. The emotional aftermath was incredible to witness. Players were crying tears of joy, hugging each other, and celebrating with fans who had waited so long for this kind of victory. This wasn't just a win. It was proof that the Fever were more than just Caitlin Clark. They were a legitimate team capable of beating anyone when they played together.
Defense. It sounds like cliche, man, but I swear, when we are able to be who we need to be offensively, it's because our defense is fueled by it. Getting deflections isn't going to play in transition. You get to see the best version of players and pros once we get the defensive stops that we need.
This victory just gave us a crystal clear preview of what the Fever will look like in 2025. What we witnessed wasn't just a fluke performance or a lucky night. This was a complete team effort that exposed the true depth and character hiding within the Fever roster. Players who had been overshadowed by Clark's brilliance suddenly stepped into the spotlight and showed they belong on this stage. Let's talk about all those doubters who claimed the Fever were nothing without their superstar sensation. Critics said Indiana was just the Caitlin Clark show with a supporting cast. They said the team would crumble without her playmaking and scoring. This 27-point destruction of the defending champions just proved how wrong they were. The Fever have legitimate talent up and down their roster.
Here's Kelsey Mitchell, flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. She hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. They're high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you, Pat.
That's Boston's 5th rebound here tonight. She is 6th in the league on the glass coming into the night. Mitchell, beautiful pass. 2 more for Boston.
Watch this right here. Just the pitch back, the ball screen, the shake up, throw over the top.
So it's an 8-1 run to start the 3rd quarter here for Las Vegas. Bounce pass inside. Mitchell lays it in. Pretty finish.
What a finish.
Kelsey Mitchell proved she's a legitimate star who can carry this team when needed. Her clutch three-point shooting and leadership in crucial moments showed she's ready to be the second option on a championship team. Mitchell isn't just a role player anymore. She's a proven scorer who can take over games against elite competition. That performance against the Aces was the coming-out party everyone needed to see. Aliyah Boston's dominant performance signals her emergence as a true franchise cornerstone. She controlled the paint against A'ja Wilson and showed the post moves that made her a college superstar. Boston looked comfortable and confident in ways we hadn't seen before. Her ability to score inside and protect the rim gives the Fever a foundation to build around for years.
A 22-point lead down to 13, and it took less than 4 minutes. Lexie Hull, a much-needed answer for Indiana.
The championship-level defense and team chemistry were on full display against the Aces. Players were switching seamlessly, communicating constantly, and playing with the intensity you need to beat elite teams. This wasn't just individual talent, it was team basketball at its finest. Picture what happens when Clark returns healthy to join this battle-tested, confident group. The Fever are no longer just promising, they're legitimately dangerous and ready to compete for titles.
20 here for the Aces. McDonald back on the attack, lays it in right around Wilson.
This victory changed everything for the Indiana Fever moving forward. The team chemistry and confidence they built beating the Aces will carry into the rest of the season. Players like Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston proved they can handle pressure and deliver when it matters most. The Fever aren't just Caitlin Clark anymore. They're a legitimate team built for sustained success. Picture what happens when Clark returns healthy to this battle-tested group. These teammates just proved they can win without her. Now imagine adding her playmaking and scoring to players who already know they belong. The Fever have become genuinely dangerous. If you support the Fever, then comment, "I've got the Fever." Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.